Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Sorry for this delay. It has been an internet issue, but we are glad to be back.
Not an interview issue.
Not an interview issue, but an internet issue, yeah.
So, we're back. Anna, which game should we look at now?
Right now, I see the game between Nana Zagniza and Olga Gira on the screen. But as we mentioned a couple of moves ago, it was already clear that White has a huge advantage, and very likely White will be able to convert it and win this game.
Yes.
So maybe we can try to look at.
We can see also look there. Sorry, Anna. There we see the players. Nana still look. More or less the same posture that she had 3 hours ago.
3 hours ago,
yeah. She's maybe hardly moved.
Did she stand up? Yeah, I'm sure she did. But sometimes when you feel that the win is so close, you try to be really very focused until the very end, because the loss of concentration, even for a couple of seconds, may lead to some bad consequences. So it's really actually very important to keep focused until the very end, to finish your game, and only then to feel relaxed and celebrate, let's say.
We have this expression sometimes, or a chess expression, the hardest thing to win is a one game.
Yeah.
You know this.
Or the hardest thing in chess is to win the winning position, yeah? Because how many examples we know when the position was completely winning, but then we let it go, yeah? Sometimes even by losing the games, oh my God. When I remember these moments, it's, let's speak about something positive.
But many of the top games, or many of the games in the women's event are still in progress, including top games, yeah?
Yeah, including the top games. So while in the open section, surprisingly, many of the top games have already been finished. So yeah, this just proves fighting spirit of women players. Maybe we can take a look at the game of Alexandra Kostyniuk. She's facing Sophie Millier. Somewhere in the opening, we were not so much astonished by her position, but right here I see that Black is clearly better. Bishop per advantage, also the pins over this diagonal and over this file. So White will be really happy to escape with a draw here, but I believe that Black will try to play for a win. And
well, I mean, I agree with you, Anna, that yeah, sure, Black is doing nicely, but how does Black actually make progress if White just sits where she is and moves the king around and just sort of keeps her pieces where they are, rook, bishop, and knight where they are?
Good questions. I think it's not so easy to come with a plan, and that's definitely what White will do. White will try to stay and wait, because White definitely doesn't have any plan to continue. So maybe the next moves will be just, staying with the bishop or with the king somewhere here, king f2, king g2. While Black, what can Black do? Black can push f5, but what then? Maybe f5 followed by h5 to create a weakness on g4 or to open the position a little bit more. Another idea maybe to bring the king all the way to c6. Is it possible?
Wow.
Or is it too long? How do you feel?
There might be a knight c7 check or something.
Okay, if there is knight e7 check, I bring the king to c5.
No, sorry, knight c7, when you play the king to e8.
Knight c7 check, okay, yeah, true. So maybe to do it in a little bit more wise way, though not clear how. Maybe the idea with f5 and h5 is more realistic. Also the idea to try to attack the a4 pawn, but how? If we play something like rook a6, we are on pinning, and then White's rook gets more space.
Right.
I don't really know, but I think it's good for Alexandra that after move 40 they got additional 30 minutes, so she has time to think. And she has 10 minutes versus 4 minutes for White in this position.
Plus 30 seconds, of course.
Yeah, and of course she's definitely very happy to have this position, considering the position she had out of the opening. So this is a huge progress for Alexandra. How about this game, the game between Shawalova and Sifka? We briefly covered it somewhere in the beginning.
Just a little bit, I think.
Just a little bit. And here Black is pawn up.
Here. Opposite color bishops.
Opposite color bishop with what gives additional chances to the side who is trying to play for a draw. Will white manage to save this? This
Well,
is
this
attacked.
is attacked. She needs to really keep this pawn, otherwise black's c7 pawn will start coming up the board as well.
And I think it's quite a big question if she can play some move like that, because let's say I play bishop b6, attacking this pawn, and after that I play b2, and you don't have this king d4 move. That's why I
Oh, I
actually
see.
played bishop b6.
Clever. Yeah.
So maybe it's better to play bishop e4, but and then some idea like that. But okay,
Still.
the idea like that is not actually possible because then this bishop can't control both of the pawns.
So the king has to
has to stay there.
stay there. Yeah.
So unpleasant position for black. Then black can come here. Yeah.
Well,
Or
clearly
also
black
like-
has excellent winning chances.
Like bishop d2 check first to ask, okay, where is this king going? Please clarify. Yeah, if the
King
king
G4?
comes to g4, then king
Right,
e5.
king e5.
And then where is this bishop going? Do you give this
F3?
pawn?
No,
b2?
pawn f3. I meant, sorry,
The
I meant
pawn
pawn
is
f3.
Pawn f3. Then maybe I can sacrifice
Oh, yes, you can.
this, and the pawn is running.
Yes, you can.
Yeah, black definitely has very good chances to win the first game, and it would be really important to have the first win with the black pieces.
Yes.
It's always nice. What about the other games? Abdul Malik versus Gary Fulina.
Well, we thought that she was in big, big trouble, Shansaya. And now, she's still worse. She's a pawn down, but
But
plenty
maybe it's
of-
like a dream position comparing to what she had.
compared to what she had, it's a long way from being lost. Plenty of play left here.
So maybe something like rook f3.
Sure. Pawn down, but she has some activity.
The king has to go back. Then maybe activating the rook, trying to push. Well, you have to be careful with c4 because then rook a3 may come,
Right.
and the spin would be unpleasant. But just the idea of that.
It's a little bit, as we said before, Shansai, whether she's +3, -3, that somehow
Fighting
something
spirit.
happens.
No,
And,
she's fighting very well. She's really fighting very well, and yeah, credits to Shansaya for her fighting spirit.
Any other results, Anna, that we can just briefly touch on? Maybe on some of the lower boards as well in the women's section, not to forget anyone really. For example, what's some other draws, yeah? So Vantika drawing with Munguntul from Mongolia.
Zawadzka Jolanta drew Divya Desmuch. Meruert Kamaldenova drew with Mara Rabidze.
Rabidze from Georgia, right? So I think
Some
we mentioned
new
some of these
results,
results already, yeah. Natalia Poganina beating Jovanka Huska.
Yeah, we mentioned that earlier, and I think no new results.
Okay. Elizabeth Petz, how's she doing against Daisy Corey? Elizabeth.
How is Lizzie doing? Good question. First, I have to find her. Board number 12. Lizzie is doing very well. She's a piece up and a pawn up, so she's definitely
she's completely winning, yeah?
she's completely winning. Maybe we can also take a look at the game of Pia Kremlin,
against
the oldest
Salome.
participant in
Salome
the
Melia from
women's
Georgia.
section, but she's actually in troubles. She's a pawn down, and it's the opposite, another opposite colored bishop's endgame, but with the rooks. Without the rooks, it would be a draw.
Yes.
Just a dead draw. But with the rooks on the board, I would say that white's chances are much higher. Well, definitely much higher. Also, this pawn
She's
is
taking
falling.
second pawn, that's
But
right.
even if the pawn on h5 was not under attack, I think it's still quite unpleasant to play this position with black pieces. I think white's chances to win the game, especially when it's like a practical game, are much higher than the chances of black to hold the game.
So this would be a very good start for Salome if she can win from this position. We had a little chat, didn't we, with Nina, who was here a short time ago. I think she said that 5 Georgian women are playing.
players are
I think
competing
that's-
here. Yeah.
Then we see
I
Salome on the screen. Salome against Pia. Pia in check, of course, it's her move.
Pia's advantage is that she has 15 minutes on the clock, as far as I can see. And Melia Salome, she's down to 1 minute, which is, of course, a bit shaky.
Yes. That's right, yeah. So we expect, I don't know, King D6, no? King D6 or King F7, I don't know.
I don't know, I don't think. I'm expecting King F7, if I have to answer this question, but to be honest, it's a very unpleasant position to play.
All right, we can always come back and look at that.
Let's take a look at the game of Laura Rogule, the local player for Latvia. I have to say that I played a couple of games with Laura because she's just a few years older than me. So when we were younger, we used to compete at European and World Youth Championships.
Okay.
And after so many years, both of us are still active chess players. And here she's, no, she has problems. She has huge problems. She has the rook, and black has 2 pieces and 2 pawns, so a huge material advantage for black. And Julia Osmak is playing with black pieces, my
Yes,
compatriot.
that's right. And there we see the two players. We're discussing their position now. Still, of course, black ought to win from this position. But you know,
Yeah, it's
players
difficult to
get
imagine.
tired and the time starts to get short, and
Knight g5 has been played.
knight g5, right.
It's quite difficult to imagine something can happen that black doesn't win this game. And
Right.
now we see the playing hall, which is actually getting more empty.
Yes.
So the players are ending their games. Whom else do we have? Olga Badelka facing...
Oh, Maria Echeguerri from Spain. Very young player.
How is she doing? So I believe white is better
Right.
because of this post pawn. But maybe black can hold it as there are not so many pawns on the board. So maybe black can try to trade the pawns on the queen side and then to sacrifice
up the
this
knight,
knight
yes.
for the h pawn.
Well, that would be a fantastic result if she could draw this game.
Yeah,
The
definitely.
very first game. She, I think she's one of the players that was given a special place here by Arkady Vodkovich, by the FIDE president.
Yeah, after some players withdrew from the tournaments, I think the priority was given to the players who were the next higher rated, and also to the juniors.
Right.
And I think it's a great idea to give some places to the juniors because they were really suffering a lot from the pandemic. They wish to compete, they wish to fight, but they were limited in the opportunities.
Absolutely. So yeah, lots of young people here. And who did we say the two oldest players we think were in the women's? I suppose Pia Kramnik.
Pia Kramnik and
in the open,
Morovic Fernandez, Ivan.
Ivan
from
Morovic. Okay.
Here we see Olga Badelka on the screen with the blue shirt. So she feels quite confident. G5 played, G takes H5.
Sure. Takes.
And G takes H5. So as far as I know, Olga is actually a very good positional player. So she definitely understands that her position is better. The only question is if she will win this game or not.
What should black play here, Anna, do you think? Bring the king across? Anyway, she can't stop h6. Or maybe she should get her knight to g5.
Knight to g5, so that to stop the pawn before it crosses.
Before it crosses, yeah. So knight h3 now, maybe.
Knight h3, and then the idea to
And
bring
then
the
come
knight.
back. And
I thought that maybe it's more important to bring the king to the center, like king d6 followed by king e5. But the knight endgames, they should actually be calculated very carefully, so you can't just, on general means, of course, it's better to stop the pawn when it's on h6 rather than when it's on h7. At the same time, we have to be careful because then now the king can go this direction and also this direction. So I'm not sure what is actually better.
It's tough, isn't it, for black actually to defend?
The idea I mentioned was that right here we go king d6, try to play king e5. Or maybe we actually have to run very fast with, this king e7, try to win this pawn and then run back with the king. So it's another idea how to do that.
But then king e3, say?
King e3, now the question where to move the knight. I don't have the answer to this question. Because wherever we place the knight, it's still too far. King f7. King f7. h6. And then the king goes this direction.
Yes, yeah.
Very unpleasant endgame. And also Marie is down to 2 minutes.
That's true, yes, down to 2 minutes.
Okay, maybe now let's cover some games from the open section. Of course, many of the top boards have already ended their games, but still we have, here we have Jeffrey Sean facing Zhou Jinxiao.
All right, we didn't look at this game, did we? I don't think so.
No, we haven't looked at this game. Seems like white is better because of the better bishop. And the knight on d5 is very strong. And the last move was knight to g7. The idea is maybe to bring the knight to f6 to trade this knight. And then take into consideration that the pawn structure is completely blocked. This bishop can't actually prevail over that bishop, because of course this bishop is much nicer, but then it's.
I think we're heading for a draw here, don't you?
You think so? Yeah. Seems so.
I would say, yeah. Okay. So as we've said already a few times, that the open time control is longer than in the women's event.
Yeah, that's why we can see that the Chinese players still have 31 minutes on the clock, while Jeffrey Sean has almost 30 minutes on the clock. And when taking a look at the women's games, we see that the players are already in the time trouble, on the second time trouble.
Actually, if I can ask you, what do you think about that, about having different time controls between the open and the women's events here? Is that something you've seen before?
I can't recall any other tournament where the open section was played at the same time as women's section, and there were different time controls for both of the sections. So that's a little bit unusual. But I think it's because of the control which is used for the World Championship matches, and in the open section and in the women's section they are different.
There we are. We're seeing now on the screen. You're seeing the time control for the women, so they just have one time at move 40 and then 30 minutes for the rest of the game with, of course, the increment. Whereas the men have a control at move 60, don't they?
Yeah, in the open section, it's like 100 minutes for the first 40 moves, then additional 50 minutes for the next 20 moves, then additional 15 minutes for the rest of the game. Right. And also like 30 seconds increment starting from move 1. So it's actually much longer.
I mean, for example, Anna, at Olympiads, as far as I know, the time controls are the same, no? Between the... Did you know that or not?
I may be mistaken, but as far as I understand the time control, as far as I remember, yeah, they were the same. I don't know why.
So there we see Jeffrey Zhang. In this very sort of blocked, closed position still. Visually it looks nice for white, but what?
Well, in order to play
can
for
you
the
do?
win, you have to keep the knights on the board.
Yes.
But then we also have to be careful that we are not suddenly checkmated.
Checkmated.
Because that would be even worse. So the idea may be to bring the knight to f5.
But if black just stays put, black just
But then black may change
black doesn't.
its plan and just keep the knight on g7, not necessarily bringing it to e8 and f6.
No, I still think this will probably be a draw. Now there's another game here. We haven't seen, I don't think. Yes, exactly. Jordan van Forest.
One of the brothers in this big family
Yes,
where
that's right.
everybody plays chess.
I think this the other brother Lucas is also here, as he was given one of the final places because some other players didn't take up their place. Correct?
Yeah, true.
For Lucas.
So Lucas is older and or not? No, maybe I am mistaken.
Jordan, of course, won the Tartar Steel event in 2021.
Impressive result.
Fantastic
Fantastic
achievement.
result by
Absolute,
Jordan by Forest.
Absolutely magnificent. So, yeah, look at his rating, 2691.
Wonderful. And how old is he? Do you know?
I don't know how old he is now, but
Nearly 20.
Oh, I was going to say early 20s, but maybe not even 20. Yeah.
So here he's playing with black pieces and the material is equal. No, white is pawn up. My calculation is not that good.
There we are. We see them. I think Lucas is actually the reigning Dutch champion since the event was last held. Beating his brother, I believe, in a tiebreak. So anyway, so both brothers are here.
Rook e6 was played. I am expecting king to f5. Is there any other move we can consider? I think that if we allow something like rook f6, it would be lost because then these two connected pawns will just decide the game. So king f5.
Right.
Okay, he's taking his time. Maybe there is something besides king to f5. Okay, there is rook b4, yeah, attacking both of these pawns, but
yes.
I think that this pawn is much more important than
Still,
any of these.
as you say, if rook b4, rook f6 maybe, and then f4.
Mm-hmm. What other is maybe king to f4, but okay. If we are deciding between these two moves, then king to f5 is also attacking the rook on e6. Somehow we can see that.
So white has real chances here, yeah?
Yeah, it's definitely that white is playing for the win, but I am just wondering why Jordan is thinking so long. He spends quite a lot of time to get the decision, so maybe there is some other move.
Okay.
No?
Well, he has
Any
45 minutes.
suggestions?
He has lots of time on his clock, doesn't he? 45 minutes. Still.
Looking at his face, it seems like he's not completely sure if he will manage to hold this.
I guess it must be rook b4, the only other move that makes sense. King f4 looks a bit strange.
Okay, which other games are still in progress? Here we see the game between Boris Gelfand and Dmitry Kollars. Black
Boris,
is 2 pawns up,
yeah.
so well, this should be winning.
Nice to see
From
Boris here.
Nice to see Boris in action, but not that nice to see that he's 2 pawns down. And it would be really very difficult to save this.
Yeah.
What about this game? Nordbek Yakuboyev versus Rauf Mamedov. Should be technically winning for white.
Right.
But I believe black has more chances here than in the previous game we saw.
On our screens we're seeing
Dmitry Kollars.
Dmitry Kollars, a young German player, playing against Boris Gelfand.
What about this game? That's
Wow.
actually very interesting because
Look at
it's the
this.
game between 2 Indian players. Adiban versus Saturaman. I believe these two know each other very well.
I'm sure they. I'm sure they
I'm
do.
sure they know each other very well. White is pressing. Again, white has a better bishop, but all
look
the
at how
pawn
blocked it
structure
is.
is
It's
blocked.
amazing.
So yeah, no way, no way any of the sides can break through. Okay, sometimes there are some ideas with this breakthrough
Yes.
of g4, but this is the only idea in this position.
G4 and then h takes h5 or something like this.
Yeah.
No, it's a real.
This.
It's a real opportunity to play g4.
Though even if actually still it's black to move right now, so let's say rook to e8, and then just imagine like this, and what next? To bring the king here, but that may turn out to be dangerous for white, yeah? So you start playing for a win, and then nobody knows
true.
what happens.
Well, because of rook h8, you mean when the king gets to h4? Is that the problem?
Yeah, there is also an update that both Adiban and Seturaman come from Chennai, the city where
Yes.
Anand lives.
Vichy.
Vichy. Yeah, so they definitely know each other very well. I'm sure they
There we
even
are,
try
look.
to help each other or having some training camps together.
So we can see there the emblem on his jacket there. Look.
Almost all the Indian players are supported by some companies, and I think
believe
it's
so.
wonderful that
believe so.
India is paying attention to chess and that Indian players are supported, because it's really very important, especially for the young players, to get some support, to be able to go to the tournaments abroad and to perform, to compete with stronger players.
I think here in the Open, I think they are the second federation after Russia in terms of numbers of players, I believe.
Yes, indeed. There are 22 players from Russia, 10 from India, and 9 from Ukraine. So they have a really huge delegation. But I remember that when we played World Cup in Russia, they had so many players coming from India. There were players, coaches, parents, supporters.
Sure.
So it was great to see
Doctors.
all of them. I don't know, but seeing all of them like bringing such a huge delegation from India, that was wonderful.
Have you played chess in India? Yeah, a few times, yeah?
No, never.
Never?
They used to organize World Junior Championships,
Yes.
also for girls, but I was too young back then, and then when I grew older, I think somehow India stopped organizing these championships. So I have never been in India, but I would like to.
I played chess in Chennai once, actually. I was there, visited, and I played a tournament many years ago. Many years
Wonderful.
ago. So we have Pete. Pete Doggers is going to show us something now. And so, Pete, over to you.
Yeah, I'm back here in the studio as well, as I did once earlier in this round, actually. I will be here a couple of times a day during this tournament, and whenever I see a few nice moments, usually tactically, I will show them. And I found two quite pretty ones. First, we have the game between Mateusz Bartel from Poland and with black Yevgeny Nayer from Russia. It doesn't look like there's much going on in this endgame actually, but after d5, trade, knight e5, black seems to be in time to play a7, a6 next, for example. Because the bishop on c4 needs to leave, right? Well, no, Bartel says, I am taking that pawn. And of course, the idea becomes clear. There is both a pin over the b file and there is a fork coming up because of that pin. So for example, if black would take knight on c6 attacks both rooks, and then you might think, but what if I just remove my bishop? Then I'm having two minor pieces for the rook, right? Yes, but I'm taking the one on d8, and then pawn b7 drops as well, and the a pawn turns out to be too strong. So this is also, well, virtually winning for white. So in the game, Nayer decided to take his chances with immediate bishop f5. But after bishop b3, white had won that pawn. And in fact, after knight d7, the move came anyway. Because now, after takes, white threatens c7, winning an exchange. And therefore, one of the rooks needs to go. White wins the piece back. And the endgame with an extra pawn is actually still underway. They're now in this rook endgame, and white should still be having excellent winning chances. So knight takes a7 was a very nice shot. The other tactic I found was a game that is already over. Nino Batsiashvili from Georgia won quite nicely in her white game today against Monika Soczko from Poland. Black just played h5, threatening h4, and seems to be developing quite a nice initiative on the king side. But Batsiashvili just developed her bishop, and that must have taken quite a bit of calculation, because the idea after h4 was this stunning move, bishop takes e5, attacking 3 pieces at the same time. So black needs to take. There comes a check on d8, king h7. The pawn goes with check. Black goes back of the king, of course. It doesn't make sense to keep trying to keep the material with knight h5, because there will be rook g5. But isn't this just a draw then, black might have thought? No, here comes the actual point of the combination. Rook e3. And now the black queen lacks squares to protect the rook on c7. We're quite difficult to foresee that in the in advance so far. And black tried knight e2 to at least keep the rook. But white was consolidating and actually mating just a few moves later, and here black resigned. So there you go. 2 nice tactics during this round. I will surely include them as well in my news report on Chess.com, which will be published later today. And for now, the show is going on a quick break, and we'll be right back after.
Well, welcome back, Anna. And how have you been enjoying the chess so far?
It's great. It's
Been
great
great,
to be
yeah?
here, and the games which we have covered, they are really very interesting. So many of the games have already been finished, but still we have some players in progress even on the top boards in the female competition. This is the game between Sofia Milea and Alexandra Kosteniuk. Alexandra is trying to win this game,
Sure.
and she's actually making some progress. Look at this rook e1. I think the next one will be rook h1 and rook h3. So it's very inconvenient to play this with white pieces. Actually, not. Actually, she played rook
Actually, she
e5
played rook e5.
instead of rook h1. So maybe first she wants to take this pawn on g5 and then...
Both players are down to, well, really not much time at all. Sophie, 20 seconds. As we're looking now, she gets 30 seconds increments per move, but she has to be quick. She has to make a move. King c3.
She made the move only when she was down to 4 seconds. King c3 was played.
And Alexandra just with minutes and 40 seconds or so.
We have to mention that Alexandra Kosteniuk became the winner of the World Cup, so she's already qualified to the candidates.
That's right, yeah.
Still, she decided to participate here and compete in a strong event. So, yeah. she's a bit puzzled, like what to do. Rook takes g5. That was her intention.
So it's funny actually, Anna, because I was saying before when we were talking about this game, how if white just kept her pieces where they were, rook, knight and bishop on the same squares, what kind of plan Alexandra could find to create winning chances. In fact, the pieces are still on the same positions, you know, those three pieces.
Actually, she moved the bishop from e6 to c6. I think she regrouped that. And if you remember, I suggested the plan that maybe black might bring the king from g7 to the c file, but it was white who came with the king all the way from f file to the c file.
Coming to f5.
Here on the screen, we see that Olga Badelko won her game.
Right.
This was the knight endgame with the h passed pawn.
Against the young Spanish player there, who certainly put up a good fight, Maria Etzigeri Flores.
True. Good fight from the Spanish player.
I met her mother. Did I mention her mother was at the hotel? I had a little chat with her mum last night, with Maria's mum. She's here with her mum.
Good. Is her mum her coach? Or no?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. So good start for Olga Badelka. How many games are still in progress in the women's section? I think only two. This is one of them, the game between Alexandra Kosteniuk and Sofia Milea. And another one is Pia Kremlin.
Oh, this game, yes.
Melia Soloma with white pieces and Pia Kremlin with black pieces.
2 pawns down. And this really must be a technical win for Salome.
Yeah, very, very difficult position. The pawn is already on h6.
Yes.
Okay, let's come back to the open section.
The open, where there'll certainly be some games still going on.
There are more games in progress. Here we see Alan Pichot versus Vladislav Artemiev. Vladislav is a piece up, though it's not that very easy to convert, I think. Of course, he's playing for the win, but it's not that easy to win this position, I think. Because there are not so many pawns left. Also, when black tries to regroup this knight, then the king will attack the f4 pawn.
Correct.
So black has to be precise. Maybe something like rook f5 can come, followed by king g5, improving the position of the pieces.
Get the king a bit closer to the pass pawn. Yes.
d6 is not possible, so before moving to d6, so white has to put this rook to some other horizontal, maybe like rook a6 or rook a8.
But you're right, black only has 2 pawns left. It's maybe not that simple to win this position.
Yeah, this game.
Oh yes, no, this one still going on.
This game will never
That's
will
that's the
never
game
end.
we were just looking at. That's Artemiev against Peugeot. And this one, Anna, I don't know what you think, but I just see this as having one result.
This kind of one result. So
Just,
maybe the repetition, like knight e8, knight e3, knight g7 back. Too blocked. Yeah.
It's certainly very, very blocked indeed, yeah. And I just don't see how I can create serious threats.
Oh, let's take a look at what Jordan has decided. Did he play king to f5? Actually not. He played rook to c3.
Okay,
So
right.
he decided that the c4 pawn is the priority.
Did white play rook,
Rook
f6?
f6 was played.
Right.
Yeah, the move that I suggested. And rook c4, king f3.
King f3, not f4 check.
f4, was it possible if we take? No. Yeah, f4 was possible, but maybe then king g4,
Maybe king g4
followed by
and,
rook c2.
Well, I don't know.
Maybe white wanted to bring the king first to e3 and then to push f4,
Right,
because
to be
then the
closer
king
to
is
the-
both supporting the f4 pawn and also the king is not cut and the king
Yes.
is very close to stop the c pawns. So that was very logical. Rook a4, king e3, and now it's black to move. White is a pawn down, but it's definitely white who is trying to win this game.
Oh yeah, no question.
Yeah, no question.
Maybe black can survive though. Not sure. Give some checks.
Just check, yeah. If the king goes here, one more check, so the king can't go this way. Maybe king e4 and then king d3.
King d3.
But then f4. Check, yeah, that's what
Oh,
he
this
did.
may be happening now.
King e4, one more check.
Just keep checking.
And after king d3? King
Let's
d3
see,
has been
which
played.
has been played, yeah. All right.
Maybe now something like rook d4 and then start pushing this pawn?
Yes.
Is it possible? Well, it's definitely possible.
Possible. it is,
According to the chess rules, it's possible, but I mean, how good
and
is
even
it?
logical,
Even logical.
I would
huh?
say.
Let's see if we see this on the board. Now Jordan is taking his time. White is down to 3 minutes.
Could we also quickly have a look, please, Anna, at Sargsyan against Pragnananda? I don't think we looked at that game. Or if we did, I forgot. Just I think it's board 27.
No, I think you haven't
Did we
checked
look
this
at
game
this?
at all. But Pragnananda, a young Indian talent.
Another, that's right.
So rook c6, is it possible to take on h5? It's definitely possible, but then white will take this pawn.
Yeah, with a draw, I guess.
And even if there are some mating ideas, yeah, we are not running into the mate because we have a rook g5 check.
Yeah.
So this seems like a draw.
Looks like a level game, yes. Agreed. Okay.
Who else? Any updates in this game?
Oh, he's played g4, Anna.
No, it was
Oh,
our
that was your
analysis
analysis.
board. No, he played
Getting
king
very-
to f2. So rook e8, king to f2. And yeah, not so many things are happening here. In this game,
This game we thought should be
should be winning for white.
technical win for white, really.
Here, Boris Gelfand will try to fight for a draw. But
Doesn't look very likely, does it?
what about the other games? David Howell.
Yes,
I
did
am
David
sure
win?
you know him very well.
I know David very well, yeah.
He has a great position
Yeah,
here.
great.
This pawn is strong.
Look at that
Also,
pawn on
the
h2,
king
wow.
can be attacked. The queen on a1
Quite a
and queen
strange-
on h8.
Yeah, quite
It's
a strange
not-
position. It's not.
It's not what we see in every game. There are maybe the idea like to sacrifice this pawn and then to play rook h2, yeah? Trying to go for a checkmate.
Right, yes. Nice idea. That could even work, yeah.
And it's black to move. So here I expect... Oh, he did it.
He did it. Great.
So is it winning by force? Okay, white has to take. That's
All right, rook h2.
that's not a question. And I'm expecting a rook h2.
It looks
Rook h2
terribly
on the
strong
board.
indeed, yeah.
Yeah,
Must take. I think this is game over. No?
Okay, if the king comes to c1, we have bishop f4. So if king comes to d1, I mean after
can
the
just take it
trade,
after
then
trade,
there
yeah.
is rook b2. There are many things. So it's completely hopeless for white.
It should be no, it should be a straightforward win
So white
for
resigned.
David.
Yeah, though I
Oh,
would
he's
like
resigned. There we are. You can see.
Yeah.
Look. Oh, well done, David.
good start for David, who has just won his game with black pieces.
Yeah.
And Velimir Ivic, a young player from Serbia, who actually performed very well at the World Cup. I think he managed
did.
to come to round 4, which was a big success for him.
Well, David will be very happy to to win with black.
I think he's also very happy to be at the tournament because he used to commentate on many events, many online events, but
That's
now
right.
he's actually
Playing.
he has the chance to play the game. And recently I saw one of his stories where he said that he played his first over-the-board game in the last more than a year.
Really? Yeah.
So he must be really happy to be here and to play chess.
In fact, 2 years ago, Anna, at the Isle of Man, I think going into the last round, David had a big chance of qualifying.
Didn't
the
he play
candidates.
on the top board?
Did he not? Maybe he played Wang Hao in the last round. I'm not sure.
Yeah, and he lost, I think.
And he lost, yeah. But
so after
he
that one,
he had a
Hao-
great event, and
But he played with black pieces, so it wasn't so easy.
but still to be in that position, one round away from a possible candidate's place. So maybe this is his tournament as well. Maybe.
Okay, it's just the beginning,
I
the
know,
first
it's just
round.
beginning.
Let's wish David good luck and all the best. Also for Velimir, once again, it's just the beginning and
It's only
many
one
things
game, of
can
course.
change. So
That's right. That's right.
we wish all the players all the best and have a nice tournament.
Nana Dagnice has posted a win in her game against. Did we mention that against Olga?
Yeah, we were expecting Nana to win. So it was this queen endgame where she was a pawn up, and now, yeah, queen c2 will be met by queen c4. Alexander is still playing.
Still playing. Oh, look at
but
this!
now it's
Goodness
totally
me.
winning, yeah. Nothing
Yeah.
can stop this pawn.
Wow. So what happened here, Anna? How did the position change?
So we saw, the last move we saw was rook to g5.
Yes.
Knight e3. Now check. Yeah, but having less than 1 minute, it's very difficult to
Absolutely.
defend it. Bishop g2. Couldn't she come back to d3? But then bishop g3, I guess. Knight f5.
Yeah.
Maybe that was more stubborn. Though once again, it's really very difficult to hold that. So she played king to c3, but well, after giving the h3 pawn, it's completely hopeless.
Right.
And we can see Alexandra won her game. Good start for Alexandra.
Yes. And well, Sophie, it was a tough game, huh? It was. I think we thought that she stood quite well after the opening.
Yeah, Alexandra was really struggling out after the opening, but then somehow the tables turned and she managed to get a better position, and then she managed to win this endgame, which was actually quite difficult to win. But
It was.
But in the second time trouble, she was better than her opponent.
Yeah, that's right.
So it's almost like all the games have been finished in the women's
events,
section. Let's just take a look. Yeah, everybody has finished. Pia probably lost. I can't find her. Yeah,
She
she
lost
did
to
lose
Salome.
the game. So we have all the games finished in the women's section, and
So the Georgians have done well today. Nana
won,
Nino
won,
won, Salome won. I don't know how Leila did, or Mary, but certainly 3 out of 3 for the others.
I can quickly check it here. Georgian day, yeah.
Well, those 3 games were all won.
Lela won.
Lela won as well, 4 out of 4.
Lela won, and Mary. And Mary drew with black.
Somebody was telling me, was it you telling me about this documentary about the Georgian ladies chess players?
It was definitely not me.
It wasn't you. No, somebody was telling me yesterday about a documentary.
Is it Carmen or
it's out in the Anna Srebrenic, the deputy chief arbiter. She was telling me over dinner a very interesting, nicely made documentary about 4 of the leading Georgian women, Nona, Maya, and so on.
I think I saw the trailer.
You saw the trailer, and I
Yes.
think she saw it at the cinema, actually. I think it's something with Queen, I forget now.
4 queens or something connected to that.
Well, it wasn't 4 queens, but I don't think. But anyway, so 4 out of 4. And did you say 5 out of 5?
No,
Mary?
Mary made a draw.
It's made a draw, 4.5 out of 5.
Not bad.
So I guess we're coming to the end of the first day's show, Anna. Nina, we can start to think about wrapping up a bit. A few games still going on in the open section.
So I will just open
But
one
we
of
won't
them.
be staying here and to watch them all, I mean.
Okay, here we don't have any updates, but we are expecting a draw in this game.
Would you say there were any big surprises today, Anna, in the open event, for example? Did we see any? Not really.
We saw quite many games ended in a draw, and I don't think there were some like big surprises. But once again, it's very difficult to consider any of the results. Yeah,
Then we
like
see the results on the screen now. The top boards there. Many draws, as you were saying, Anna, and 3 white wins for Fabiano, for Alireza Firuja, and for Kirill against Kirill, for Alexinko. Yeah. And
I'm
then
just wondering why Kirill Shevchenko is under the Russian flag, because he's actually the Ukrainian player. Maybe it can be changed later.
the women results there. So Maria having a draw today. And wins for Nana, Alexandra, Paulina. So the favorites really.
Yeah, but in the women's section we see many decisive results
We do,
comparing to the open section.
The only really result against the ratings there would be Anna Sargsyan's win over Alina Kashlinskaya.
I agree.
Yeah, among the top balls, but yeah, certainly fewer draws, many fewer draws, as far as we could see amongst the ladies. And some tough endings still in play in the Open. And people can still watch those games, of course. We'll be back tomorrow, so just remind viewers as well that there are 3 candidates' places at stake here, Anna. 2 in the open section, and
one in the women's section.
One in the women's section, yeah. 11 rounds, 10 rounds still to come.
So all the rounds start at the same time. It's 2 p.m. local time, what is 1 p.m. Central European time, and 4 a.m. Pacific time. There is a day off on November 2 after round 6. And we will be glad to see you tomorrow, yeah?
Absolutely. Same time.
Same time, same place.
Same place.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you so much, and good night, and we'll see you tomorrow.